Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues. With this video, I'll be discussing my thoughts on Episode 2 of the anime series Zankyou no Terror, or Terror in Resonance. And this was an absolutely compelling episode, much as the first one was. We're pretty much seeing another terrorist bombing happening in Tokyo at the hands of 9 and 12, aka Sphinx. They're sort of terrorist guys, and they've put up another video in this episode where essentially they're issuing to the police force a riddle. One that actually relates back to one of two potential incarnations of the Oedipus story, which I found absolutely fascinating as it relates to the whole Sphinx and, this mythical creature that Oedipus runs into, issuing to humanity riddles such as, very similar to the one that, 9 essentially concocts to give the police force in this episode. And a lot of this episode, like 3/4 of it, is pretty much police procedural. We're seeing the steps all of the different investigative, forces of the police are taking and ascertaining the reasoning behind and the carrying out of the terrorist bombing from episode 1. And one of the investigators in particular had found a TNT bomb marked with the letters VON, V-O-N, very much like, the nuclear materials were stolen in the prologue of episode 1 and left behind afterward were those particular letters. So it's going to be a grand mystery understanding what exactly the Vaughn amounts to and everything like that. And I find it absolutely captivating that this sort of former investigative officer, Shibasaki, he has concluded what these riddles amount to, but he had more of a spot-on interpretation of it, whereas the police force, they took it sort of in the wrong vein, interpreting the wrong version of the Oedipus story, whereas he was right there, basically calling the shots as to what this likely all amounted to, just as the explosion goes off. Now, it's interesting to see how 9 loses at rock, paper, scissors with 12, and he has to go and deliver within the police department that they're going to be blowing up all of the little apparatuses and stuff like that. He's placing them around the whole place, and it's convenient that the police force is actually mostly not there when finally the bomb goes off, and Shibasaki is on the phone with the lead investigator, and this investigator, almost pleads for him to come back into the fray. I don't know what exactly the history there is between them, but it seems like Shibasaki is not, a full-on investigative police officer at this point. So for the police force, the head guy to be saying, we need your expertise, we need you to come back, whether he's a criminal profiler or whatever the history is, he is apparently on par with the mentality being played out by 9 and 12 in their terrorist activities. We also see that 12, there's some discussion between he and 9 about this girl, Lisa, that essentially 9 has told her she's an accomplice, and he's wondering why 9 has said that. But of course, 12 then takes it upon himself, as 9 is setting up the explosion and everything, to basically follow Lisa and try to keep tabs on her a little bit. He confronts her at one point, and she's following him to try to get some answers out of him, and he basically bold-faced threatens her. He's like, look, you may be an accomplice, but you're not one of us, and you step out of line even remotely, I'm totally going to kill you, with a smile on his baby face. So that just ramps up the tension that much more. And what really brings it full circle by the end of this episode, once the explosion in the police department has happened, 9 is looking over, what he has done essentially, and he's got this sort of half smile, and he's like, I'm waiting. He's taunting something or someone. Now, the episode, you could glean from the episode that maybe it's some sort of adversarial thing going on between he and Shibasaki, because as I say, Shibasaki was the guy who answered all of what this riddle amounted to. Not in time, but he was still right in step with the thinking that 9 was putting forth. So is there something there as far as, 9 is waiting to re-encounter this person and take him on? Or is there some grander scheme going on? That is the question that remains by the end of this episode, and it was just fantastic watch. I love this series. I have to say, Yoko Kanno's music in this particular, that sort of piano melody that was playing all through the episode was very haunting and just delicious to listen to. She is absolutely brilliant in her work, and I love the atmosphere that that music, that sort of melodic tone represented all through this episode, because there was a level of unease as well as almost like, a surreal aspect put forth by that music. And with the direction of Shinichiro Watanabe, this is easily, the best of this particular wave of anime, if not the best anime series in a long time, in my humble opinion. So yeah, otherwise that'll be pretty much it for me on this. I hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.